This video is going to show you how you can customize personal preferences to enhance your OpenAir browsing experience. As you can see, I am logged in as a consultant, and by clicking the little drop-down arrow that is next to that consultant's name is where you access the Personal Settings tab. We're just going to go through some of the recommended settings changes that we have come across as we've gotten familiar with OpenAir. The first thing is setting your time zone. Always a good thing to do, so just select the right time zone and save it. And all these other preferences, when you have some spare time, you might want to read through them. But the next important setting that we're going to talk about is in the display options area. It's the shorten client project drop-downs. Right now you can see it says do not shorten. And so the experience that you're going to get with it set up as the default do not shorten is exemplified here, where in a timesheet, for instance, you click on client project and you will see the full client name and then a colon and then your project name. This is good if you're just getting used to the way that our clients are nicknamed at Strata, the coding that we use using the domain URL. But if you've been at Strata a while and you've gotten pretty familiar with the preface codes that we use, the acronyms for our clients, you might want to make the full client name disappear. And so the way that you would do this is back in your personal settings, you would choose either of these next two options. Really, there's not much difference. There's just a little bit of indentation. Probably the standardized one would be to just remove the client name and the indentation of the project name. And by doing that, all you will see then is the true project code. And again, this is requiring some familiarity with the way that we have acronyms for our clients right now. The last set of settings that we recommend you play around with are your data density settings. By default, they're both set to comfortable. What that does is it makes everything really big on your browsing screens. For instance, on this screen right here, you can see there's a lot of space between each record, taking up a lot of real estate on your screen. So if you wanted to open up some real estate, you would just change your data density to compact and go ahead and save your settings. By doing that, it actually saves that compact setting for all of your views in OpenAir. But now there's another way of customizing your experience by just customizing your individual views. So as an example, we're looking here at our client list. As you can see, we're still back in that comfortable density. So we want to change the density to compact. And look at what happens. As we did that, you see it opened up some more real estate on our screen that we're not actually using. So we would want to increase the number of records to make sure that we're really getting the full impact of what is available on the screen. Don't forget this scroll bar, because there might be more records that scroll off of the view than what you are familiar with. Another thing that you can customize by using the customized settings are the column names, which columns show first. For the client list, we're going to go into customize the list view, and you can see that nickname and company are pretty much the same name. So we only need to see one of them, and we're going to use nickname because that's actually the client name that you see throughout the system. Company name is the true company name, but nickname is only what is shown throughout the system. So we're going to remove company name, and yes, we want to see the account executive for that client. We don't need to see whether they're active or not. Not so much interested in their phone or their fax information. So you notice I'm holding down my control key or my shift key to select multiple pieces of information that I am going to remove all in one execution. We'll remove these. We'll save our view. So now we have a much more comfortable view to look at. But let's say that we want to see the domain name right next to our nickname. So we can go back in, we can actually take this and move it up the list right next to the client nickname, hit OK, and our settings change and we have a better view. Every screen has these views. For instance, if you're looking at expenses, you can customize here. At the resources screen, once we get all of those in, you can customize your view. So just play around with these. Also, something to keep in mind is sometimes there are fields that are quote-unquote required fields. So as you're customizing, you might be trying to remove a field, but it's a required field, and so OpenAir won't let you remove it completely, at which time you would just kind of move it down to the bottom of your list so that it moves to the far right of your screen and you don't need to see it anymore.